Howdy, pals. Today we are going to speak about an amazing initiative that China is working on to rescue tiny islands in the Pacific in the next 30 years. This endeavor is just one more example of how China is a nation that is constantly one step ahead of the rest of the world in terms of technological advancement. Now, let's discuss some of the initiatives that China is working on in this region. For the last several years, China has been making significant progress toward the development of artificial islands by using a wide range of technological methods. One of these projects involves the construction of an island on the Maris Reef, which may be found in the Pacific Ocean. The island is built by filling the shallow region with sand and stones, and after that, it is intended to develop a harbor, an airport, hotels, and other forms of infrastructure on its territory. The project has a duration of around 5 years and a cost of approximately $1.03 billion throughout its execution. Another project that is worth highlighting is the construction of an artificial island in the Yellow Sea. The island will serve as a location for the transshipment of goods between containers sent by sea and those transported by railroad. The estimated cost of the project is $6 billion, and it is currently uncertain when it will be carried out. In addition, China is working on projects to develop artificial islands in the South China Sea. These islands may be utilized as territory for oil and gas corporations, and China can also use them to reinforce its geopolitical positions in the area. The first thing I'd want to know is, how much money did the Chinese invest in this project overall? The cost of China's initiatives in this region is off the charts. The country has spent billions of dollars to develop artificial islands in shallow seas and to enlarge existing islands. For instance, the Chinese spent more than $7 billion to create an artificial island known as Pushin in the South China Sea, and they spent more than $2 billion to expand an already existing island known as Santa. By the way, the second thing I'd like to ask is what construction dates have been established for the projects. The people of China have shown that they are capable of putting their plans into action in a prompt and effective manner, which has contributed to their success in this arena. For instance, the man-made island of Pushin took 3 years to construct, while the development of Sanya Island also took around 3 years. When the scope of the projects is taken into account, the speed is astounding. Yet, the final inquiry I have for you is this: why is it essential for China to own these islands? To begin, they have the intention of increasing their presence in the Pacific Ocean in order to better support their maritime interests. Second, they have the goal of fostering the growth of tourism while also generating more employment opportunities. The safeguarding of the border and the establishment of a secure environment inside its borders is the third and last reason. The fourth question is, whatever particular projects has China carried out so far? As I've mentioned before, some of the projects that have been carried out by China include the construction of the man-made island of Pushin in the South China Sea, as well as the expansion of the already existing island of Sanya. These are just two examples of the many projects that have been carried out. Building a port on the island of Hainan is yet another project that is being undertaken. The construction of this port was done with the goal of fostering the expansion of tourism in the area as well as providing support for the expansion of the local economy. The plan to build a new island in the Shantou region of the South China Sea is another initiative that ought to be brought up. This project was started in 2016, and it will be finished in the year 2020. As a direct consequence of this, a man-made island was formed, and a new naval facility was constructed on it by the Chinese government. Fifthly, what kind of effects would this project have on the surrounding natural habitat if it is carried out? The construction of man-made islands has the potential to have a detrimental effect on the natural world, but China is doing all it can to mitigate this consequence. They use cutting-edge technology in their efforts to reduce pollution and save the natural world. In addition to this, China maintains a close eye on the status of the environment in this part of the world and works to mitigate any harmful effects that human activity may have. And lastly, the last point I want to ask is, what can be stated about the prospects for the future of this project? Even now, several years after the initial start of the project, China is continuing to make substantial investments in the expansion and improvement of its island possessions On the basis of this information, one may reach the conclusion that the project will go forward and progress in the years to come. Maybe China will continue to wow us with even more groundbreaking work in this sector in the future. In general, China's plan to conserve tiny islands in the Pacific over the next 30 years is truly astounding in terms of the magnitude and breadth of their undertaking. Not only does this assist China in bolstering its position in the Pacific, but it also contributes to the expansion of the economy and generates new employment opportunities. China will not stop investing in this initiative, and it will continue to make use of cutting-edge technology to lessen the damage done to the environment. I have high hopes that this project will garner the interest of other nations and serve as a catalyst for the launch of additional projects of a comparable kind all over the globe. Yet, there are a few inquiries and concerns that are brought up by this endeavor. A number of skeptics are of the opinion that China may use its newly developed artificial islands to use in military operation. This issue is still up for debate, but China insists that none of its activities in the region are motivated by anything other than the pursuit of peaceful ends. In addition, several environmental groups have voiced their worries on the effect that this project would have on the ecology and biodiversity of the area. This subject is still important and calls for further research to be done on it. In any event, China's plan to rescue a number of tiny islands in the Pacific over the next 3 decades is an undertaking that is both incredibly essential and really intriguing. It has a tremendous potential to help build and reinforce China's position in the area, as well as to assist economic and social progress. Nonetheless, it is vital to take into consideration the possible negative implications of this initiative and to do additional study in this field. What are some potential repercussions, in your opinion, that might result from China's construction of man-made islands? What other nations are capable of taking such a leadership role? Share your feedback and any questions that come to mind in the comments section, and we'll talk about it together. If we are to discuss how much money the projects will cost, we may expect it to be in the multiple billions. On the other hand, China has previously proved that it is capable of financing and carrying out initiatives of this kind. For instance, the Crimean Bridge, which connects the peninsula with mainland Russia, ran around $3.07 billion to construct. In addition, China provides financial support for the building of a large number of other important infrastructure projects, both inside its borders and outside. One of the most intriguing and excitingly ambitious programs in the world is the Chinese initiative to rescue tiny islands in the Pacific in 30 years. It has the potential to become not just a symbol of China's economic, scientific, and technical strength, but also an example for other nations that are attempting to find solutions to difficult environmental challenges. On this project, what are your thoughts? What other initiatives throughout the globe do you regard to be the most fascinating and ambitious? Share your feedback and any questions that come to mind in the comments section, and we'll talk about it together. Your attention is appreciated, and we hope to see you again on the channel soon